Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Brendan Riker. I'm Chuck Heinz. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app, presented by Happy State Bank for that. We get this great news about Josh. I'm so glad I have tickets, he and his wife, for Monday night, and we are sitting near third base, hoping Josh plays. Hey, good timing.
I bet there'd be a good chance he will.
Yeah, good timing. You can tell him Gomer says hey. Okay.
Gomer.
Gomer says hey.
Is that what we should call you now, Gomer?
No, not Gomer. Just, that's just a kind of a, Andy Griffith, Gomer Pyle kind of. Yeah. Hey, tell him Gomer says hey. Tell him Gomer says hey. By the way, listening to the early portion of the ball game last night between the Rangers and the Cardinals, Eric Nadel was back at the mic, and as he is wont to do, he'll tell you who's coaching. And I always like to hear the names who's coaching, because sometimes there's familiar names or things along those lines, or older players or former players. You go, I remember when that guy played, or I remember when that guy played. Guess who's coaching first base for the St. Louis Cardinals?
I don't have a guess.
Stubby Clapp.
Okay, former Red Raider.
Yeah, and Eric Nadel said he played his baseball at Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. So he gave a little shout out to the Red Raiders. So Stubby Clapp, there's a familiar name to folks from back in the day, and he's had himself a nice professional career and coaching career, and kind of moving up the ranks.
Much longer coaching career than I think playing career.
Yeah.
Did play some in the bigs, but
got up there and had more than a cup of coffee, but he's certainly been around. Watching the Olympics last night, this is going to sound strange to you, because usually I don't want to know the results of games and then go back and watch them, because it's just hard to do. But for whatever reason, the Olympics is different for me. I mean, there were some results that I knew going into primetime last night, and there were some that I didn't. But I still wanted to watch, and still wanted to watch the competition. Was thrilled for the men's gymnastics team that took a bronze. They were thrilled too. You had one guy there at the end who all he does is the pommel horse. I mean, that's all he does. And he's an engineer, and I mean, he looks like a nerd, and probably is, but he's really athletic. And the pommel horse is a skill set that he's got. I mean, and he can do it like nobody else on that men's gymnastics team. And when he takes off his glasses, it looks like he goes from, and they reference this on television, so I'm not just coming up with this on my own, but he went from like Clark Kent to Superman. I mean, he kind of looks like Clark Kent. And they showed a picture of Clark Kent from like back in the day, Clark Kent movies, Clark Kent, and then him, and then taking off his glasses and then looking like Superman. And it was something. So I don't know. I think that was a huge achievement for the men's gymnastics team to get bronze. They hadn't medaled in the Olympics since 2008. No gold in the pool last night for the Americans, but you had a guy get his third straight medal in the backstroke. He got a bronze. So 3 straight Olympics he competes, which is really, really hard to do. Now the Tokyo Olympics were just 3 years ago because of COVID. So they have a little bit of a, not as big a gap as normal. Yeah. But still, though, 3 years in between highlight events like that where you just...
So 11 years instead of 12. That's...
Right, still.
That's nothing.
Right, no, it isn't. And so I was thinking about this last night while I'm watching the Olympics and getting caught up in the emotions of and the backstories, and you see the parents and all those things. And look, I know these guys and gals to a degree are paid and have gotten sponsors. And it used to be where the Olympics was, they're only amateurs, right? And they only, if they worked at the, driving a UPS truck or whatever, and then they train by day. And you still have that. I mean, you had one of the swimmers who, I mean, he lives in Dallas now. Ryan Phillips, I believe, is who it was. But anyway, the bottom line is he'd work. He'd get up and work out, swim, go back, work from home, go back, work out over the lunch hour, go back to work, then go back and swim in the afternoon. But I was thinking about this going, man, while we used to look at these Olympians as, man, these guys just hang it all out there and they don't get paid nothing. And they kind of get these jobs, and now they've got paid sponsors and whatnot. But I have a different feeling about them versus what we're going through now in college athletics. Because what we're going through now in college athletics is this major turmoil and uproar and trying to figure out, okay, how much are we going to pay this guy and this gal and all this kind of stuff? And is this the only way that we're going to ever get good again, is by having the biggest war chest? And then you've got these Olympians who now kind of come off as innocent compared to what we're going through with college athletics right now, just because of the churn and the turmoil in the water. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, to a certain degree. I've wondered a little bit myself if I'm not more into the Olympics this year, because to me, it's not the money that bothers me about what's college athletics now, nearly as much as it is the transferring and that you're on one team 1 year and the next team another year and all that kind of stuff. So there is some truth probably to that when we don't know about, again, like you said, they are professional athletes. They're getting paid. They have sponsors, all of the above. But it doesn't feel like we're not hearing about the crazy money that we're hearing in college athletics that we weren't used to hearing previously. But the thing for me is that, and again, I know there's quirky stories about guys that have dual citizenship and could play for one country and played for another, a.k.a. Joel Embiid of the U.S. men's basketball team. But we don't see a guy, playing for France won Olympics, and then the next year he's on our team,
Bulgaria or something.
Yeah,
right.
he's not all of a sudden he's an American,
yeah, right.
Okay, because we paid him a bunch of money to come to us. So yeah, I do think there's a little bit of just the simplicity of you're on this country and you stay on this country, and I'll stand behind that. I think the transfer portal part is, to me, worse than the NIL, quote unquote, pay for play part that's going on with college athletics now.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because they're ours. I mean, they're not like, okay, hey, I'm just going to stand up for this national anthem, and then 4 years from now I'm going to be with Ukraine because they needed
they paid me more, or they paid me to change my nationality. Yeah, which is what we're doing in college sports.
Yeah, or
they paid me to change my loyalty to this school.
Yeah, no. So anyway, I've got a renewed spirit of freshness about these competitors and these athletes and their stories, which I think, generally speaking, no matter who's had the Olympics, and really this started with ABC way back in the Munich games with the up close and personal kind of stuff, where you kind of get to know them a little bit because they had so many hours of coverage to try to fill, and so you get to know these guys a little bit. And last night, in the pool, this kid wins. I say kid, he's 29 years old, wins the backstroke, or he wins a bronze medal for the backstroke, and his wife holds up a sign saying it's a girl. So they had a gender reveal in the pool last night without the pink smoke and all that. She just held up a sign. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. The women will go for gold as a team in the gymnastics tonight. And I think they've got a really, really good shot to do it. Of course, Simone Biles has got a little bit of a calf injury that she's going through, but she's going to compete in all the team events tonight. So that should be exciting, and more stuff in the pool. And then the track will get underway later on, and that'll be fun as well.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Brendan Riker. I'm Chuck Heinz. Great to have you with us today on the Morning Drive. Today and tomorrow left in the month of July. So if you've got stuff that's on your list, today'd be a good day to get it done. That way you don't have the pressure of tomorrow and then August, and then next thing you know, it's Christmas. So just kind of keep that all in mind. The snowball's rolling pretty fast right now. We'll have the Rangers and the Cardinals, game 2 of 3 on the air for you tonight, as the Rangers won last night over the Cardinals. They're in St. Louis, and we'll have it for you at 6, balls and strikes, 6:40, 6:45 or so tonight on Double T 97.3. Astros and the Pirates will play tonight on 100.7 The Score. That's a 6:40 broadcast time, and then 7:10 from Minute Maid in Houston, as the Astros defeated by the Pirates last night. Mariners also lost last night, so the Rangers are 3.5 back. Nobody really wants to win the West, Jamie.
I think it's going to be a dogfight. I really do. I think all 3 teams have a chance, and I think it's going to go for a while.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that makes it entertaining and makes it fun. So, I think
they all want to win it. They're just
I'm sure they do. Yeah. I mean that's a throwaway. Nobody wants to win this thing. Well, I mean I'm sure if you went down to the clubhouse, you'd probably find 25 guys saying, "No, I think we do." in each clubhouse, plus the the coaches and support staff and things along those lines. There's plenty of guys on the Rangers this year that weren't part of the World Series run, so that would be like, hey, I'd like to be able to experience that in my career as well. As we mentioned, today is Texas Tech's Media Day for the football team, and then they'll start practices tomorrow and get underway over there at the football training facility and things along those lines. I was thinking about this, going, what real questions, not for the coaches per se, but what real questions do you have for this team that can be answered in what they call fall camp? And it's not like you've got this quarterback battle. It's not like you've got this, who's going to touch the ball from the running back standpoint the most. I know there's going to be position battles that are up for grabs, some of whom will go, okay, well, whether it's, the linebacking spot, not necessarily linebackers, so that's a bad example, but, maybe along the offensive line or defensive line, maybe in the defensive backfield, maybe there's going to be competition for who's going to be able to catch the ball, who's going to get the ball, who has the best quote-unquote receiver-quarterback relationship with Baron Morton. And that may change depending on who the quarterback is, in terms of at practice, because some guys just, hey, I like the way so-and-so throws the ball better than so-and-so. It comes into my hands better.
Yeah, early results on that would be Coy Aiken.
Yeah, for Baron Morton, right? Yeah. No question. I mean, do you agree with me on that? I mean, is that did you kind of look at this and go, on the surface, for us, the casual fan observer, that the questions are going to won't necessarily be answered until you get to the game itself.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some position battles that you can ask about, those kind of things, as fall camp goes along, and how one guy is looking. I mean, maybe it's the backup quarterback position. Maybe it's, offensive line. Maybe it's defensive line, defensive backfield, those kind of things. But for the most part, I think you got to wait and see what happens in games before you really start to get a feel for where this team is really good or where this team is lacking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it just, I don't know. It's just it's a little bit. It's just a little bit different when you kind of look at it from that standpoint and go, well, it's a different way to look at it this year maybe than other years. The other thing that's interesting to me, and maybe they'll release these times today, but just on the release that I got, and maybe it's just the one that I got, there's no practice times yet for practice 1, which is tomorrow. They'll go tomorrow, and then they'll go Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, so they'll go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then they'll take Saturday off. Their first scrimmage is not until August the 10th. And of course, they'll have a number of days where they'll just, practice in shells, and then they'll go to pads and all that kind of stuff. And then their second scrimmage will be on August the 17th, and that will be it. And then they'll get ready for game week starting August the 25th for the first game against Abilene Christian on August the 31st. So it's all very well choreographed and timed and all those kinds of things. So I'll be interested to see, are they going to be morning guys? Are they going to be afternoon guys? Or is there going to be some kind of combination thereof?
Okay.
If you were playing, would you rather go first thing in the morning or the afternoon?
I'd rather go first thing in the morning.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of how they've been doing this with Coach McGuire's group, is going in the morning. So I don't know if it'll be first thing, like 7 a.m., like get up, we'll listen to Jamie and Chuck a little bit, and then go out and hit the practice field. See what they got to say, see what kind of strategy they have for us. That probably doesn't happen, ever.
I wouldn't guess so.
No, it wouldn't be good. I mean, if they're listening to us, then they're going to be sitting with us before too long. And I don't think they necessarily want to do that. The other thing that will be interesting to me is who's the third quarterback? Maybe that's the big question. Is like, oh, what's going on with all your different quarterbacks past Baron Morton? Because I mean, Baron Morton's not going to get hit in camp. They're not going to say, well, hey, let's test Baron Morton's shoulder out, and somebody go in there and slam him to the turf and see if he gets up. Now, what may be fatiguing him is how many times he throws the ball. That may be the biggest issue in terms of, is he on a pitch count, so to speak?
I guess I would just tell you I would be surprised if it's not Will Hammond.
Yeah, this
It's
number
the
3.
third quarterback. Yeah, I didn't know there was really a question there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Jake Strong has the experience, but just feels like that's a done deal.
Somebody has this question. I don't think he'd answer directly, but I'd love to know if running back 2 has been settled. Okay. That is between...
Yeah, Taj Brooks is the starter.
No, running back 2.
Running back 2.
Behind Taj.
Okay.
I would think Cameron Valdez, but maybe so. Maybe the freshman will get some reps there.
Yeah, I would lean towards Valdez.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Next, Jamie's question of the day.
Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, it's prediction time.
Oh, okay.
But we're not predicting wins and losses. I want you to predict storylines, positive and negative. Today?
Mm-hmm. Oh, for today?
No. Today we're going to do this right now.
I didn't know that. Maybe if...
I want you to tell me at the end of the season, when you're talking to your friends and talking about what went right and what went wrong, I want you to tell me what the strengths of this team, or the strength of the team, will be, and what the weakness of the team would have been.
Okay.
So you're looking back at the 2024 football season.
Okay, so can a strength also be a weakness?
You can do whatever you want, Chuck Heinz.
Okay. Okay. Because I was thinking if you're good, and good would be 8 wins or more, okay, in the regular season. Let's just because if you win 7 again, I mean, you've done that. I mean, that would be average, okay? That'd be average. And when you have 7 home games, I would hope that you could win more than a total of 7 games on the season, especially when you have some games away from home that you feel like that you're going to have a chance to win, okay? So I'm going to say your quarterback play is going to be strength, and your quarterback play is going to be a weakness, because it's going to be based on availability. Because I'm not confident that you've got a 2 like you've had in years past, where you felt like, hey, if 1 goes down, we got 2. Now, last year we had 2 go down. We didn't really have 3. But I feel like this year you have 1 go down. 2, you've got the predictable guy, maybe with Cameron Brown, because he's going to run all over the place. And they're going to tell you, well, you can throw the ball. Okay, but then you also got Will Hammonds, but he's a freshman, and do you want to kind of protect him a little bit? So I'm going to say quarterback play is going to be a strength and going to be a weakness.
Okay. By the way, it's just one Hammond.
Okay. Will Hammond.
We gotta learn these new names.
Yeah, no S on that. Yeah.
He's just one Hammond.
Okay. doesn't have one hand. He's just got one Hammond.
Oh, he does have two hands.
Right, that's what I'm
It'd be
saying.
difficult to quarterback with just one.
Two hands, one Hammond.
Two hands, one Hammond. Okay, Brennan.
Along similar lines, starting with the strength at the end of the season, we're going to be talking about the phenomenal season that Taj Brooks is going to have. Should be up for national awards, break the rushing record, and all those good things that come with that. I think the weakness that we're going to talk about is the health of the quarterback club.
Come on, guys. Why we gotta... Sooner or later, we're going to catch a break. Guys,
I just don't know when that's going to be.
it's going to be now. We're due.
Okay.
You guys are...
Debbie Downers.
You guys are scaring me here with this. I mean, we're already worried about three quarterbacks over here to my left.
The seamstress needs to take the S off of Will Hammond's name, so it's just Hammond.
Okay, so the strength was Taj, and the weakness was quarterback injuries, basically, or quarterback health.
Yes.
Okay, I think the strength's going to be just the versatility of your offense. I think this offense has got so many really good weapons, and both in the backfield and out wide and tight end position as well. It's just hard for me to imagine that your passing game is not dramatically improved from last year. So I'm going to say offensive versatility, and even include a guy like Cam Brown who can come in and do some different things for you, running the football and some trickery and all that kind of stuff that will be involved. So I don't know. I just think this team has a chance to have a really, really good offense. Obviously, that offensive line has a lot to do with it. And man, I don't. It's I hate calling it a weakness or whatever, but I'm worried about run defense, just because you had two really, really good ones that were there for a long time that have now left you. And so until I see, and it was so much fun to see Texas Tech be good stopping the run, because for years it was so bad. So I'm worried that we're at the end of the year we're gonna say, man, I guess losing those two guys was more of a factor than we thought it was. Yeah.
Okay. Because I think you're right. If you were to ask me what is Jamie going to say, I would have said that you would have said the defensive line, because that's been a concern for you probably since spring practice, maybe even since the bowl game.
I love hearing Coach DeRuiter talked about the depth that they have there, and maybe they're even better than last year, and all these things. I love hearing it. It's just until we see it, I'm going to be nervous.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing I think that all those players probably will speak about today, especially on the defensive side. You'll hear talk about how deep they are, and how don't necessarily have to have the same guys playing 75 or 80% of the plays, or that if somebody goes down, not that you can replace them with equal talent, but that the drop off isn't going to be as significant as it's been in years past. So that I think that's something that we'll hear a lot today, with regard to the defense. I'm curious about the kicking game. I mean, it's going to be Gino Garcia, but I mean, are we going to have a different guy kicking off? Is Reese Burkhardt going to be the kick-off guy? And then what about punting? How are we doing on the punting? Not that we want to punt the ball, but when we punt the ball, we want to be able to punt the ball. Right? Let's hunt the ball down there. We're going to do the kangaroo kick thing? Are we going to fake it a lot, or what's the strategy?
And
there?
When we throw the ball, we also want to be able to throw the ball.
Right.
And when we run the ball, we want to be able to run with the ball.
But you understand what I'm saying, because with McNamara, I mean, we had a game changer, for the most.
Game changer?
Well,
what game did he change?
Well, yeah, how about
he was really good.
How about we had a position, field position changer? How about that? That's probably more accurate.
He's a punter. I mean, 4 or 5 yards here or there. I'm sure defensive coaches will tell you that's great. Pin him back. It's great. He was great.
We're going to go for it anyway. On
He's not a game. I mean, punters
from,
aren't game changers.
from the 35. Well,
And some are way better than others, and Austin was terrific. He's going to be hard to replace. I think game changers a little bit of
that might be a little bit out there, just a skosh.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Brendan Riker. I'm Chuck Heinz. Great to have you with us today on the Morning Drive. Paul writes in and says he's attending his first ever Major League Baseball game on Saturday in Arlington. Asked for any tips, and I thought you gave him a great one because mine was going to be, hey, get there early so that you can enjoy it. And then you had something specific about going early and watching batting practice. I agree.
Yeah, I don't do it every time, but if you can get there early enough to watch BP, it's impressive to see the guys hit the ball at the park, man. It's fun.
No doubt. No
Get out
doubt.
there in left field or right field and see if you can shag a fly ball.
And generally speaking, and I don't know if this is the way it is for the Rangers now, but generally speaking, the home team takes batting practice before the fans are in, and the road team is the one that takes batting practice late. That's what it seems to me, but I may be wrong on that with regard to the Rangers.
I can't remember, Chuck.
Okay.
Here, I mean, in college, it's always the home team that's first.
Bullfighter says this. Tell him to find Bullfighter, and I can show him around.
Yes, find Bullfighter.
Okay. Yeah. Paul says, thank you. We're in left field about 3 to 4 rows from the field. Oh, that sounds like great seats. Great seats to be able to maybe get you a ball or something. But I'd say you don't want to feel rushed. You don't want to feel like rushed. Like sit down and then boom, game starts. I mean, sometimes that happens because just life gets in the way of things, and you maybe get into traffic or something along those lines. But if you can,
and most likely you're going to have to walk a little bit, so realize that it's going to take you 15 minutes to walk to the stadium once you park.
Yeah.
So that's another reason to be there early.
Yeah, unless you've got front row Joe parking spot,
or you're willing to pay $80 to park.
Is that what it costs now?
I don't know.
But it seems like it's.
I think that's what it is over at Cowboy Stadium. So I don't know.
I
mean, shoot, feels like the last few Rangers games I've gone to, I've paid $15 and still been more than a half a mile away or half a mile or whatever. It's a ways, quarter mile. I don't know. It just feels like about a 10-minute walk.
That's long. Well, not for you.
It's no big deal, but I mean, for some people it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Bullfighter says it was $50 for big parking lot last game.
Yeah. I don't ever park in the big one. That's too close.
It's too close.
No, let me rephrase that or change that. It's too expensive.
Yeah, because by the time, just think about it, by the time you buy your tickets and buy your parking and then you go and get yourself some, concession stuff, man, you can.
This is crazy though, isn't it?
Yeah, parking should never be more than the actual
crazy.
ticket itself.
I remember we were in Miami for our honeymoon, so that would have been in 1999, and going to a Heat game. It was the first time I ever had to pay to park, and it was $20. And my wife and I were like, "This is ridiculous! $20 just to park your car at a basketball game." That was kind of when that whole thing started, where they started charging you to park, and since then it's just been gone through the roof. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean. I'm really going to show my age here, but going to Royals games in college and whatnot, it was, you could sit in general admission for $1.50, and I think it's $3 to park, and a Coke was $2. It's like now. Bear in mind,
you had to pay to park though.
You had to pay to park, yeah.
Man, I can remember going to Ranger games and not paying to park.
Yeah, always had to pay to park.
Like in the 90s and maybe even in the 2000s.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Always had to pay to park there. I can remember my first year here in Lubbock and going to Jones Stadium and pulling up and asking the guy, "Hey, because I figured you're going to have to pay to park, they're on the west side," and I said, "Where do you park?" He's like, "Young man, them first 2 rows over there, they're scholarship parking." Okay? Scholarship parking. Everything else is wide open. Now, you can't get a parking spot on the west side for probably.
That's good.
You got to be at $5,000 level or something like that. But I mean, back in the day, somebody says this: you could Uber to the game and get the all-you-can-eat tickets and save money.
Oh yeah.
The only and I've not done that where I don't think I've Ubered to a game. Because my concern would be it's not going to the game; it's going back to the hotel after the game or wherever you're going.
Yeah, they still have Ubers after games.
I know.
They're probably more ready at that point. Okay, they know it's coming.
Or just get in and go. Maybe so.
Yeah, I think you'd be fine with that.
Okay, maybe so. Somebody says this: borrow a handicap permit from a friend. That's low blow.
I'm sure that was a joke. He even had a LOL on there.
He did have an LOL. Yeah, of course.
Our listeners are way more classy than that.
Yeah. See, by putting the LOL on there, it makes all the difference in the world, right?
Yes, it changes everything.
Chuck Heinz is a Richard. LOL. That's what makes it all good, right?
There's a older lady that plays tennis with where I play, and it cracks me up because she has a handicap sticker or whatever little tag hanging, and she parks right up front in the handicap, and then she goes in and dominates people in tennis.
How's that work?
I don't know. She doesn't move great, but she's really good.
Okay.
It just seems odd. It just seems really odd. If you're able to play tennis, do you really need a handicap parking pass?
Doesn't
feel like that.
Doesn't feel like it. No.
Yeah.
Not at all. Connor says this: you can pre-order your Uber for after the game too. I'm not as adept at that.
I bet you could figure it out.
I've got the Uber app. I've got money in my Uber account. And I don't know. It's like I was going to use it once. We're somewhere, and I think Finkner got so frustrated with me trying to use he said, "Let me just do it." I said, "Okay, I'll give you some cash." Let me just do it.
Yeah, I think Connor's got the right idea, or the other texter that's saying that stay across the interstate and there's a trolley that goes to the game, which I think is really cool.
Yeah,
because you're on there with a bunch of Ranger fans. We've done that before as well.
Yeah, we did that the last time we were at the Rangers game a couple weeks ago. Is we stayed at a hotel and then we trolleyed over there. But then after the game, there's a long line for the trolley, and it was going to be probably about 40 minutes. So we're like, we'll just walk back to the hotel. No, that was not a smart idea. We should have waited for the trolley.
Because it was a long walk?
It was a long walk, and it's obviously impossible to get across the interstate.
Oh, gotcha.
On feet.
Yeah.
And humid.
Yes. Even though it was night, it was a little, just a little humid.
It doesn't stop being humid there.
No.
Ever.
And dodging cars is a lot harder than dodging lightning, I think.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. The odds of dodging lightning, I think, are greater than dodging cars on the interstate. You little Pac-Man there. You're gonna get.
I'm just going to take your word for all of that, okay?
I think so. I think that's the case. One little cowboy note here. Did you know this? Zeke Elliott is at the top of the Cowboys running back committee. He's at the top.
Who else is there?
Well, there's a guy named Royce Freeman they're real excited about. He was a Denver draftee. He played for the Rams last year. Rushed 77 times for 319 yards. And then Rico Dowdle and Malik Davis are also in.
I liked Dowdle last year.
I did too.
Mm-hmm.
I did too. I thought he ran hard.
I'd agree.
But it just kind of concerns me. Zeke's at the top of the heap. Yikes.
He is past his prime.
Right.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent to my right. I'm Choice Woodman, now in for Chuck Heinz. Brendan Riker back behind the glass taking care of us. Some hard-hitting sports talk so far this morning from what I could gather. Someone asks, is Texas Tech football media days today? It is. It is. We will have boots on the ground, as they say, to bring some
some
commentary back. And
Brennan's boots.
Brennan, are you wearing boots today?
Yes, I am.
Are you really? Oh, he's going to show. Let's see how acrobatic he is. Oh, I thought you were going to lift your whole leg in the air, and I thought you were absolutely going to fall out of the chair.
I lack the flexibility to lift my leg in the air and show off the boots that are on my feet.
Okay, so he's actually wearing boots. So literal boots on the ground over there at Texas Tech. We just keep getting these checkpoints for college football season. We were talking about I was talking about with Sneed, but had the women's event last night. This one today, the media days. We'll have the kickoff luncheon before too long. The Knights of Columbus thing. All these little things that just kind of inch us closer and closer to football season. All the awards are putting out their watch lists right now. Had Taj on the Maxwell Award watch list yesterday, so we're getting there. We're getting there.
So we are officially in talk season.
We are in talk season, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm ready for, what are we at?
The real season.
32 days
regular
from today.
season.
32 days. So a month and a day from today, we'll kick off the season. So looking forward to it. With that, Jamie, I need you to pull out your calendar. What most people would call a schedule, actually. The Texas Tech football schedule. Okay. Whip that sucker out. And you're going to tell me, you're going to answer 2 questions for me, if you want. It sounded kind of forceful, but
it did.
If you'd like to answer these 2 questions, Brennan, you can do the same. My questions for you this morning are, what is a game that you have currently as a win that you're most nervous about for Texas Tech this year, and what game do you have currently down as a loss that you think is the best chance for Tech to win?
I have TCU as a win. That's the one I'm most nervous about.
Okay. You don't have that as a win by much, right?
No, I have that a toss-up.
Okay.
Yeah. In which loss do I feel like we could shock the world?
I didn't say. I don't think any of your games are shockers if you win them at this point. I mean, there's no team in the Big 12 that you're playing.
I'm going to go with Iowa State.
Iowa State. Okay. That's a pretty good pick, yeah. I think that one's not.
I feel like Iowa State should be pretty good this year, but I don't look at them offensively and just think dynamite team. So I feel like we would have a shot if we had a good day on offense.
Okay. Brennan?
So the one game that I have down as a win, but I'm most nervous about, is probably the Washington State game. Since that's first game on the road, night game on the West Coast, and kind of scared to see how well you're going to perform on the road. But on the flip side of that, mentioning the road, the one that I'm kind of the vice versa on is the TCU game.
Okay. That you have as a loss?
Correct.
Currently? Okay. I'm kind of a mixture of you two. I lean towards the Washington State game as well. It's just, I think the Wyoming game is branded on my mind so much from last year, especially you're up 17 points in that game.
Man, you just made it look so easy in those first 3 possessions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there thinking we're rolling to a 30-point win here. I mean, that's
about to be a blowout.
That's what it felt like. You were like, okay, this Wyoming team isn't on the same level as you at all. You're going to roll through this and start off the season great. I mean, heck, maybe they're already looking ahead to Oregon by the second quarter. I don't think that's actually the case, but it just was about as disappointing as it could have been. And then you get close to winning at the end and lose it in overtime on a 2-point conversion. It just so many elements to that game were frustrating and just and you just can't let that happen again. Now, Washington State, better program than Wyoming.
Sure.
Still Power 5-ish. They're still calling themselves Pac-12 for now. Pac-2. 2-pack. The Shaker League.
Okay.
That's what we're going with.
Just going back to the Wyoming game, I think that the thing that is just so frustrating is that, with ease you were scoring, and then they clearly made adjustments and changed things up, and you just never adjusted back, so to speak, and got things going on back in the right direction.
Yeah.
Just once you got punched in the mouth, you never punched back.
Yeah. So that's the one I'm with Brennan on. I'm nervous about. I think the one you've got the best chance to win. I think it is a team that will not have as much firepower at the end of the season. I think it's in Stillwater this year. You've played some tight games with them in recent years. I think Baron Morton's going to have a chip on his shoulder in that game because that was where his first start was 2 years ago. And he played pretty well in that game, but came up short. So I think that one, I think the Iowa State answer is great. I'm like Jamie. I have TCU as a slight favorite, or Tech as a slight favorite to win at TCU. But, yeah, there's a lot of games on the schedule this year that feel like they could go either way. It feels like as open of a Big 12 as you've had in a really long time.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.